As many of us Counter-Strike players are right now, I was angry about the most recent update. It's such an obvious cash grab from Valve, and it just feels like the biggest scumbag move they have done in a long time. I think it's safe to say that we are all unhappy with the prices of the new terminal system. Being the open-minded person I am, I figured I'd try to look at it from a different approach. I mean, from a business standpoint, wouldn't it make sense to take the money out of the customer's hands and put it into the company? I mean, you have to remember, every transaction that takes place on a third-party marketplace, Valve sees none of that money. And even when you do sell a skin on the Steam market, they only see a percentage of the transactions. Of course, Valve wants to try to get their grubby little hands on every dollar they can. But then it occurred to me, this is Valve we are talking about. They make millions of dollars every day just from the $2.50 key price to spin their slot machine. So many customers can't even afford to buy the high-tier skins from the terminal. I mean, they are literally asking for a month's worth of rent for one skin. Have they really made up the money that they are losing from the average customer in just the absurd prices alone? For full transparency, I do not have a background in math. I literally went to alternative school because I decided getting high was more fun than school for 2 years. I don't have any idea what I'm doing, and these numbers could be fundamentally flawed, and I would have no idea. With that said, what I started with was going through each skin in the new collection on FloatDB, writing down how many there were in each exterior, stat track, and non-stat track, and documented them all down. For the prices, I was originally just going to write down like an average of the price that I found, just kind of roughly estimating it, but then I stumbled upon a summary of the prices from a guy named Neon. To be honest, I'm not sure where his data is from, but just for the sake of consistency, I took the highest possible multiplier according to his data and calculated it assuming each one was as high as possible. If anybody is interested, all my data will be in the description, and the amounts of these skins were accurate as of 8:30 EST on Friday, September 19th. I then went to the Steam market and took the amount of Kilowatt cases sold on the first 3 days of release and multiplied that by $2.50, assuming each case bought on those days was opened. Now, this is likely a more flawed data point than the terminal pricing because this is not including cases that were sold on a third-party marketplace, nor is this including any cases that were immediately open after the case was dropped. And yes, cases could still be sold day one on third-party marketplaces when the Kilowatt case came out. None of these prices include Steam fees either. So, on day one of the Kilowatt case's release, 216,186 were sold on the Steam marketplace, meaning Valve made at least $540,465 from just key sales alone. Day 2, 114,499 were sold, meaning they made an additional $286,247.50. Day 3, 88,684 were sold, meaning they made $221,710 for a total of 419,369 cases sold and a total of $1,048,422.50 in the first 3 days of just key sales. Alright, for the terminal, there's a lot more explaining to do. Remember, all of these numbers are calculated at the highest possible percent increase, so these numbers are vastly over-exaggerated. If you want the exact pricing I used for each rarity in each exterior, there will be a link in the description to a screenshot of the table I used, as well as a link to the tweet of the original data I found. In red skin sales over the last 3 days, Valve has made roughly $218,387. In pink sales, they have made roughly $75,551.85. In purple sales, they have made roughly $38,808.65. In blue sales, they have made roughly $6,235.26 for a grand total estimate of $338,982.78. That means that compared to the Kilowatt case, in the first 3 days of the terminal system existing, Valve has made at least $201,483 less than they did on the first day of the Kilowatt case being released. Comparing the first 3 days for both, Valve is down $709,439.72. Just to reiterate, Valve made $709,000 less dollars with the terminal than they did with the Kilowatt case. So they really pissed off their whole player base just to make $700,000 less than they would have if they just released another case. So that answers the question. No, The absurd prices have not made up for the amount of money they would have made if they just didn't isolate their customers or if they wouldn't have been so concerned about the laws in other countries. Obviously, these are extremely rough estimates, as it's possible that some skins haven't been registered on FloatDB, but this is also assuming that all 8 registered StatTrak Factory New Red skins were bought for $3,500. Good job, Valve. Way to make the best decision for not only your business, but for your players, customers as well. Fucking idiots.